I'm pleased to welcome this morning Detective Sergeant Shawn Kelly. We had been expecting John Messer, the lieutenant of the unit, but he's occupied with other urgent matters this morning. And so the sergeant and his sidekick there, Ellie, have joined us. Uh, this is always full of lots of great information. So, Sergeant, let me turn it over to you. Tell us just a little bit about yourself and Ellie, and go ahead and launch into your presentation. And by the way, folks, if you have questions, Sergeant said that it's okay to just pop off. And so unmute yourself and ask your questions, okay? All right, thanks a lot.
Hello, good morning, everybody. If you have an issue hearing me or need something repeated, just please let me know. Again, my name is Shawn Kelly. I am the detective sergeant of our burglary property crime unit for the Madison Police Department. I am in my second year in this position. I'm joined by Ellie Babel, who is our pawn administrator. Ellie's been with our unit for
11 years.
11 years. So she's been our constant here as people like me rotate in and out of this unit. So she's our wizard behind the curtain, I guess. So yeah, as we go through this, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer things as we go. And then at the end, I can take some more questions as well. So we're just going to touch on some of our basics that we see, and I can talk about some cases that come up and things that we generally see with property crimes across the city, and how you can all keep yourself safe and the like. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if I can get this going here.
Right.
Yep. So basically, our burglary property crime unit is made up of a detective lieutenant who is Detective Lieutenant John Messer, who is actually on his way to retirement now. So that will be changing out shortly. And I am the detective sergeant. We have one criminal intelligence officer, part of our criminal intelligence unit. We have 9 detectives, our pawn administrator, and we have a senior volunteer, I believe maybe from your organization, who comes in, and I give him some phone calls to make, and he's very super helpful with follow up with citizens who make self-reports. So I'm very glad he's with us. So what happens is that reports come in either through officer reports who are dispatched to calls and make the reports, or a very huge chunk come in through our self-report system that citizens can make online. Reports are generated, and they get put into a queue, and then I every day go through this queue and review them all. So what I do is I read the reports to see whether they can be assigned out to a detective, or if I could have an officer like a neighborhood officer, community policing officer, maybe an officer on light duty, or if I could find somebody to do some follow up on it. So basically, as a detective, majority of cases that we work are felony cases. Felonies are punishable by up to or a minimum of a year in jail, so it'd be prison. Felony level cases. I will occasionally assign out misdemeanor cases if they're pattern crimes. If we have a suspect committing the crime multiple times, and there's other circumstances as well that I will also assign out misdemeanors. It'd be very rarely that I would assign out something that would be a municipal ticket level, just like a simple theft of like a soda or something from a store. That wouldn't be assigned out to a detective. So when I read it and I see if a case is workable, so what's a workable case? It's something that would have a lead on it that we could work with. So something that would have evidence that we could follow up on, be that a video to be collected, witnesses to locate, identify, interview, forensic evidence such as like touch DNA or fingerprints or something that we can maybe take out to the crime lab to get some leads on, or any other kind of follow up with maybe some other agencies or anything that we can just take a detective resource to see if we can generate leads to develop suspects. A second aspect of our property crime unit that we also focus on is we would like to hold the person accountable, the suspect accountable, and hold them, or make arrests. But also with the property crime unit, we also are focused on getting items back for the victims of crime. So if we can't make an arrest, we will work hard as we can to recover items that are stolen. And we have several means to do that, and we'll get into that a little bit. And you'll find one thing I'll hammer home is have your serial numbers ready on your electronics, your bikes, anything that has a serial number sign, because that's how we find your items after the fact when they're stolen. And there's multiple ways we could do that, and that's how we reunite items. So yeah, I make assignments, I manage the cases for our detectives, and so what I'll do is I'll kind of quickly share how our whole detective bureau is set up. This is new this year. We kind of went into this brand new model.
Zoom.
There we go. Hopefully you can see a chart now of our detective model. So our investigative services, we have 72 total detective positions allocated. The Madison Police Department has roughly 500 sworn officer positions. 72 of those are detective positions. 67 are at the detective level, and 5 are at the detective sergeant level. So there's 5 in my position that supervise units. And then each of our specialty units, as you see across the top, have a lieutenant assigned as well. So going from left to right, we have 6, we have districts: West, Midtown, South, Central, North, and East. Each of the districts hold a specialty unit, and Central holds a couple, at least 2 units. So West, we have our sensitive crimes, and that's west of the square. So that's West, Midtown, and South. In East has our sensitive crimes East, which is North, Central, and East. So those are basically your domestic calls, your sexual assaults, your stranger sexual assaults, sex offenses, intimate partner violence and domestic stalkings, strangulations, elder abuse. And they are divided between 4 a.m. detectives and 4 p.m. detectives. So at Midtown here, we have our property crimes. Generally, we cover burglaries, thefts, stolen autos, significant retail thefts, meaning like pattern retail thefts or felony levels, graffiti, animal abuse cases, property crimes, criminal damage, arsons, to name a few. So our unit has 4 a.m. detectives and 5 p.m. detectives. South has our sensitive victims units. You can basically just think of child crimes. That's a very difficult unit for detectives to work in. There's a lot of abuse against children, sexual abuse. There's also internet crimes against children, ICAC, child pornography, sextortion, and enticement. Central has a brand new unit that we formed this year. It's our computer/financial crimes. There's emerging crimes in dealing with online fraud and cybercrime. And we're trying to get into new ways to investigate Bitcoin crimes, people
Scammed.
what's it?
Or scammed.
Or scammed. That's the word. Scamming. and identity theft. And the majority of cases they take is like when a credit card is stolen and used at multiple locations, and the credit card theft, which you could charge somebody with identity theft for that. And they'll take the occasional swatting or bomb threat calls as well. North is our persons crimes. Those are, think of physical violence against somebody else, robberies, substantial batteries, hate crimes. Lower level shootings where maybe people were shot at and not hit, felon possessions, missing persons, reckless endangering safety. If you go to the far right, we have our violent crime unit. So those things are our shootings, stabbings. Those are the big time cases you hear about, homicides. We have a AM and a PM unit. I believe there's about 11 or 12 detectives assigned there. We also have our GenCat team, which is our gang neighborhood crime abatement team. So that's kind of our boots on the ground enforcement team for them. We also have 4 detectives assigned to our criminal intake unit. They do the court paperwork, get the court paperwork ready for arrested persons for the DA's office. Down below on the left, we have one PSIA. Help me what that stands for. Internal Affairs, Professional Standards, Internal Affairs Detective Sergeant. And then below that, we now have one detective assigned to our Joint Terrorism Task Force, who joins up with federal agencies, Homeland Security, FBI, to link to Madison resources and cases. So this is the new model we went to. We kind of went away from district centric to specialty units. So cases that get assigned or cases that get generated now flow to these different units to become specialized with the goal of becoming more efficient in handling these cases, getting quicker at writing warrants and investigations. And so we're in our first year of this, and we're trying out to see if this is more customer service friendly and efficient for handling cases in district centric cases.
Open up here.
Okay, hopefully you all can see the PowerPoint now. So again, our property crime unit, we do burglaries, arson, stolen autos, significant retail thefts, graffiti, damage to property, animal abuse cases, or theft from autos. Our main focus is on our strategic policing, our burglaries, theft from autos, and stolen autos. Just real quickly, I wanted to share this stat here of kind of how burglaries trend over the year. So traditionally in Q1, which is the winter months, they go and then they spike over the summer as it gets warmer, and then they dip back over the winter, and then they spike. But you can notice from 22 to 23 to 24, our numbers have been lowering. I think that's kind of a national trend, as well as Madison, as crime rates have been lowering, which is a very good thing. As you notice, I started in 2024, so I will take credit starting right here when burglaries went down significantly. That's the same with stolen autos and other crimes as well too. Stolen autos here were out of control, a lot of juvenile gang involvement, rings, stealing cars, stealing the Kias, stealing the Hyundais because they were easy to manipulate the starting engine, starting mechanisms. Very easy to start them. Just pop the steering column, use a USB to turn it over. There's since been fixes with that, so that's kind of died down as well too. Okay, so property crimes. I'll hammer this home quite a bit. Property crimes are a crime of opportunity. A lot of our suspects are out looking to see what they can steal. It's very uncommon for suspects that I'm seeing to force entry, to make it difficult for themselves to get into a place to steal. They will steal things that are easy to grab, and we'll see that they go through unlocked doors, unlocked windows, unlocked car doors. It's not worth the hassle for them to break a window, to cut themselves, to cause a scene, to draw attention to themselves when they can just go on to the next place and find something unlocked. So the number one message to hammer home is lock your doors, lock your windows, and make yourself less of a target, because they will move on to the next place.
Let me just jump in there, Sean, real quick. You know, if people have what effect on deterring break-ins do you think a camera phone at the door has? Do you think they figured out the ones that are active and the fake ones, or any little box with a hole on it will keep the burglars moving to the next house? What do you think?
You're giving a lot of credit to criminals. Um, you would think they did. I would hope that I would think in the big run, the criminals do see which house have the rings and they do move on. But I receive a lot of self-reports, a lot of reports where ring video helps us capture images.
Mhm.
But it is absolutely the number one deterrence you can have, is a video and lighting, and we'll get into that here. Because if you have a motion light with an obvious camera, they're going to be gone in a split second. They're not gonna stick around for that. And that's one of the easiest thing you can do is go out to Costco or go on Amazon, get yourself a Ring camera, a motion light, have it installed, and that's one of the easiest things you can do to protect your home, and for deterrence.
Okay, thanks.
So again, the number one thing is lock it. And we'll talk about, well, first of all, we'll talk about the car doors. And I'm going to hit on some of these same themes over and over, but your car doors outside, if you park your car in your driveway, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe you could maybe get away with it, but not anymore. These kids have figured out a way to, well, basically stolen vehicles. They'll drive through neighborhoods. They'll drop the kids off. One guy will be a driver. They'll drop the other kids off, and they'll just walk down the block trying every single car door. They'll have some pretty good success of getting into cars, and they'll find unlocked car doors up and down the street. The worst case scenario is your car door is unlocked in your driveway. Your garage door opener is there. They hit your garage door. Now they're in your garage. And if you think how many of you out there leave your door between your house and your garage unlocked at night, and then now they're in your house, and how many people leave your car keys hanging right by your back door, and now they have your car keys, and there goes your car. And that is all too common of a scenario just because your car door was unlocked.
I would also mention that we see plenty of video where nothing is stolen, but we have video of the people walking up, seeing that the car door is locked, and just moving on. So I mean, it is really just like they're just path of least resistance. So it is an effective deterrent just to lock your stuff.
And if that involves double checking before you go to bed, to sit in the car key, whatever it takes. Because again, it's a crime of opportunity. And I will see if I can get this to work just to show you how quick it is. Apologize for this. I think I need to share this.
No, I see your screen.
Mike, can you see a video right now?
No, I don't see it right now. Probably have to switch your sharing to that window.
You see it now?
Yep, we will
Okay.
here as soon as you get her started. Yep.
Okay. And then this is just a ring video. I mean, this is how quick somebody's in and out of your. I mean, the timer down below was 20 seconds. Um, and if you have your wallet in there, your purse in there, it's gone.
I'm wondering about cars. Can they get, I mean, most cars these days have a fob. How do they, and it's, my car locks itself the minute I'm, you know, 5 yards away, beep, beep, and it's locked. Can they get into cars, that are locked? How do they do that? It used to be you'd have a little tool to open the lock, but how do they do it now?
Well, I mean, that's just a setting on some cars. Some cars have a setting when you walk away. Not all cars have that. It's just very newer cars have that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've done it. Like I park my car and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna come back and get something out of it, and then I get distracted in the house. I go to bed. My garage door is open overnight. Whatever, my car's unlocked. You forget about it. But the point of this is people that are in the habit of just not locking their car. It's just you got to get in the habit of locking it because that's all too common. I mean, I see dozens of these cases. I read dozens of these cases a day. And it's very surprising how many people leave wallets and purses and backpacks with laptops in there. College kids leave their laptops. And the amount of firearms that are stolen out of cars are quite staggering.
Mhm.
Um, Worst place in the world to store your gun, and they're just gone in an instant. And then I just had one more to share. Kind of the same idea here. Um, so this guy you can see is all covered, so he wasn't concerned about the light, but it just takes him a few seconds to get into this car. He's in there in an instant.
Once they're in there, a lot of people are leaving weapons in their glove compartments, right? How many? I'm just curious. How many reports of weapons stolen from cars do you get every year? Any idea?
I don't know about every year, but it's not uncommon if I maybe get one a week, couple a
A
week.
week. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then the next challenge is what's your serial number? I need your serial number for your gun. That has to be listed in the national database as stolen. Because if it's used in a crime, we need to track that as stolen, and it's just a whole big mess. And it's part of responsible gun ownership is securing it. And I understand mistakes are made, but it's just in the first place storing a gun in your car if it's not in a locked container. They do sell locked like safes for your center console and stuff, but so many people just leave it in there unsecured, unlocked, and they go missing. It's quite staggering. So um, yeah. So locking your car door is one thing. It's just a message I want to hammer home here.
Doesn't the city have an ordinance that requires people to turn off their engine and lock the car when they get out? Isn't that a city ordinance? I'm just wondering, if it still is, I thought I'd heard that. Is that ever enforced when, yeah, I mean, you guys are busy with a lot of stuff, but
There is a idling ordinance. I think it was made for like delivery trucks, and I mean, it'd be very difficult to enforce that or have the resources to. I don't think there's anything about locking a vehicle.
So,
yeah, okay.
And then we'll come back to the lighting. Again, motion lights, very helpful. Work very often. And then your portable cameras, your blink cameras, your ring cameras, easy to get them anywhere, put them up, everything of it. Put them in the right places.
yeah, make sure that when you're, like, if you do have a camera, make sure you're putting, and it's motion activated, make sure you're putting it in a location where if it will be triggered by activity. So don't place it up so high that it's not going to get activated. Also make sure that it's pointed at an area that it's going to catch maybe a person's face and not just the top of their head. And that it's not obscured by, the shrubbery or a light pole or something like that. So just being aware of where you're placing these and that they're going to be effective if they, in the event that they do capture some footage.
And there's a whole science and study about environmental design and home security, which goes from everything about camera positioning, lighting to shrubbery positioning and keeping it at a cut down level, to other placement of items around your house. So windows are not concealed and giving people opportunity to have concealment if trying to get into a first floor level. If you're interested more, you could Google it and look into that, about making houses as safe as you can be.
And actually, we had an MPD officer about 2 years ago do a presentation for us on environmental design and crime prevention. If anyone wants to look at that, I mean, it's 2 years old, but I can't remember the name of the officer, but that's on our YouTube channel. Just search for Triads of Dane County YouTube and scroll through the videos that are there, and you'll see the officer discussing this whole field. It's really interesting. Sorry for the interruption again.
Yep, no, that's good. Yeah, there's a couple officers here that are trained on that. And then hide it. A plain sight. So again, if your car's in a parking lot and your wallet's on your front seat, computer's on your front seat, and somebody sees it, they're going to try for it. Like I said, it's uncommon but not unheard of for criminals to break a window to get in. But they'll do it if they're motivated to. And if something's there and it's a dark parking lot, or like if you're at a park and ride, we don't have much crime at the airport, but if it's that kind of scenario, and they can break out a window, and if it's just sitting there, they're going to do it. So concealment again is hiding the item. And I'm going to transition this into package delivery. I think that's the fastest rising, highest number of reports I'm reading these days are Amazon delivery packages being stolen. Is a crime of opportunity. It is so easy to do. People are gone within 5 to 10 seconds with packages, usually in a higher traffic area, but it's happening in residential areas. And there are measures you can take to help prevent that and secure your packages. Amazon has several programs you could use. You can give them specific instructions on their website to deliver to your back porch, to your screen porch, item delivered to a specific area of your house. They have a program called Amazon Key, which you give them your garage code and they'll open your garage and put it in and close it. You can have it delivered to an Amazon store or a specific location, you can come pick it up. It's unbelievable how many people order cell phones online to get put on the porch and they get stolen. There's your $1,000 phone gone, and then you're left with the big mess of dealing with Amazon and your cell phone company that you ordered from of trying to get that reimbursed. And I don't understand why that's allowed to drop a $1,000 cell phone that looks like a cell phone in a package on your porch. So I just found a couple things online here, simple things you can do. You could just have, simple design flower arrangement with instructions to Amazon to put it behind it. Or a lot of drivers figure that out right away. If you make a natural barrier with something, they're going to put the packages behind it so people walking down the street don't have a chance to see it. They also sell items. This is from Home Depot. It's a package delivery box. People walk by, see this box, they're not going to think to take the time to go up there and open it and dig through it. You can get stuff with flower boxes on top. You can get stuff with the cabinet opens from the front with codes on it. You can give instructions to your delivery drivers how to access it. You can get stuff where you pull open a drawer, like a delivery, like a mailbox, and they can dump it in and close it. There's lots you can do to secure your packages for deliveries. And it's highly recommended that we start looking into things like these so your packages don't go missing. Because it's just, I get a lot of reports I read like this.
And one thing, if you're doing Amazon deliveries, you can specify there how you want and where and all of these details about what the driver should do with your package. And I fill that in. And if they don't follow it, I complain. And it works. I mean, that feedback goes to these guys, and the next delivery, it's followed. So I would, like Shawn's saying, think about how you want that package delivered, and then provide instructions for the Amazon driver, because they may screw up the first time, but the second time after your complaint, they follow it, because I imagine their contract depends on it.
Yep. And like all these tips are like, how much exposure do you want to, how much risk exposure do you want to put yourself at? It's like, it's a good idea to kind of take these steps to lower your exposure to putting yourself out there to have somebody have that opportunity to victimize you. And it's, I'm just, these package thefts are getting out of hand, and, it's just so uncommon. And I'll actually share a video with you that I just found the other day.
And I would just, while he's pulling that up, I would just like say how simple some of these steps are, right? Like it's, maybe put some pretty flower planters out, or putting that package on. None of it's hard. None of it's requiring a contractor to come out and install things. It's just buying something, opening it up and putting it there. Or being specific in your direction to the delivery driver. So none of it's hard. It's just, getting into that habit or planning ahead for it.
So here's a couple of first row with the babies. You notice there's no babies. They're just here for a crime of opportunity. And you can see, like a residential neighborhood, folks are going around just combing those neighborhoods for packages. And that person did have it some, kind of behind their hedges even, but it was sticking out a little bit, so they did see it. So, I hope next time this person gives directions to, maybe put back further, or, add maybe a flower pot or something. But, that's what the lengths people will go to take a package now.
And this is like to the point of camera placement. Obviously, this is a Ring camera, so it's at a doorbell height. But I mean, that's effective right there. We have good photos, we have good images of these people. There's a good chance that we'll be able to identify who they are based on that good camera, those good images.
What resolution would you suggest? I mean, there are a lot of cameras out there. What would be the minimum resolution you might, want for a camera like that? I mean, you can spend anything you want on a security system, but what should you look for so far as the size and resolution of the picture?
Yeah, I mean, you notice those night ones are really difficult to get details. With the light on it, you get so much more. I don't know if that's a really good question. If there's, if it's 1080p, obviously that's what your standard is.
Yeah.
That daylight one was pretty darn good to fight people with. Yeah, if you're noticing, it's not really great resolution, it might be something you want to see if you can upgrade. So I'll get back to, even that night one and these other ones. At the end here, I'll show you how we could use even the clothing to help identify who people are. So even though you can't see a face, sometimes the clothing can help us out. So just having any video at all just gives us something to start with. Without video, without a serial number, it's likely this investigation is probably going to go nowhere, just because we don't have anything to start with. Again, back to this, just removing items from your car. Firearms should never be left in there. I cringe when I read stolen auto reports where the keys are left in there. It's something in the past that I think, maybe some older generations probably were used to, and it was acceptable to leave it in the visor, the cup holder. It's just now, the younger generation who are stealing cars know that, they'll find car keys in cars, and they'll be stolen in an instant. So if that's a habit that maybe somebody has, it's a habit you should get out of, because it's, these, like I said, these kids are finding open car doors and they're searching for the car keys, and cars go missing very quickly. And again, closing at the end of the night, get into a routine, make sure your garage door is closed. Get to know your neighbors. If you see a garage door open, text them, call them, whatever, let them know. It also helps keep you safe by keeping your neighbors safe as well too. Deters those that come into your neighborhood who are looking for crimes of opportunity to stop. If we can all help each other out, making sure everybody's safe, just by keeping a garage door closed, it's worth it for everybody.
Don, I had a quick question here from Julia, who's with me here in the Zoom room.
My question is I have one of those outside my garage door, one of those code boxes to access and open my garage door from there. Are those easy for someone to break into, to I don't know, in some manner to decode and be able to get into my garage? Are they pretty safe?
They're pretty safe. I'm not seeing that at all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I know, like with some garage door openers, they have the same frequencies, but I'm not really seeing the youth driving around trying garage doors like that. It's not that common.
One thing though, like given this time of year, it's springtime, and maybe we're in and out of the house more, out in the yard doing stuff. It's easy to forget at the end of the night to shut your door. Also, what happens to me personally, I will maybe be doing some yard work and I put a rake down or I put something down in the way of that eye. So I think I shut it at night, and then I wake up to find my garage door wide open because the door couldn't shut all the way because I put something in the way of the electric eye. So just be aware of that too, that you're watching it close, or you're just confirming that it's shut all the way before you go to bed at night.
So We do have Crime Stoppers. You can report suspicious activity. You can remain anonymous. I'm going to skip ahead to the next one, though, is what to do if you're a victim of a property crime. If you show up, your front door's open, your windows smashed out, your screen's broken, your lights are on, you don't feel safe going into your house, don't go into your house. Call us first. We'll come, we'll clear your house for you, make sure nobody's passed out in your house, make sure it's safe to go inside. Don't hesitate to call us if anything's out of place. We do this quite often. Chances are people are there and gone already, but you never know. You never know if somebody's intoxicated, passed out in there, and you don't want to encounter that person. So there shouldn't be any hesitation at all to call us. And you can call 911, or you can call the non-emergency at the number 608-255-2345. So a challenge I'll give all of you is sometime in the next week, go around to your valuables that have serial numbers and jot them down. Your computers, your iPhones, your iPads, your TVs. Take a photo of the serial numbers, model numbers, your bicycles, your mopeds, your electric scooters. You keep those handy because when they get stolen, that's how we're going to find your things. And we've had success returning items that way. Violins.
Yeah, musical instruments.
Yeah. Anything with a serial number on it. Because when they end up at pawn shops, we'll find them automatically. We put them into a database. We put them into a national database that if they ever get ran, they end up back in our hands and we return them. So it's something that you'll likely never need, but when we come to you and we ask for it, it's going to be hard to scramble. Your gaming systems, your PlayStations, your grandkids or whatever that come over, it's hard after the fact. Your jewelry, take your most of the thing, expensive items, photograph them, itemize them.
And when you're taking those photos, make sure they're not of, you at a party wearing that ring. Take a picture of the jewelry up close so we can get some detail, because that, especially if it's a unique item, because a lot of times that's all we have to go on for jewelry if we're trying to search for it at a pawn shop is a good photo. And we've had some success with that too. So make sure that you're being deliberate about capturing those images and descriptions of those. So if you know that it's an 18 karat gold ring, write down that it's an 18 karat gold. And if it's, get those kind of details with the size of the diamond or whatever, because that is helpful. The more information we have, the more likely we can find your stuff if it shows up at a pawn shop, or we can identify it if we run across it during another investigation. So having those kind of details is very helpful.
If your car is broken into, if it's something minor and you call, they might refer you to self-report. You could just Google Madison Police Department self-report. Takes you right to the first link there. It's a really nice, new, improved system we have. Several languages. You choose what kind of thing you had, what kind of crime, some kind of credit card fraud, something was damaged, anything else. If it's a theft from auto, you start your report online, you put your address in, time frame, your information, the vehicles involved, items that are missing, descriptions. This is really important. Serial number. Bicycles are big. If you have a Trek bike, you bought it from the store. Trek is really good about keeping your serial numbers on file. These are kind of suspect information. And here's one of our biggest incident what happened. Here's one of our biggest improvements. You can upload photos and videos right on the site to us, and I can look at them as I'm reading the report, and I can see what we can work with right there in your contact information. It's a great system.
When you do make that report and you say, well, gee, my grandma's ring was stolen, Ellie, don't you have to be able to prove that the ring that you have at the property room is actually the ring that was stolen? I mean, as a you know, the victim, don't you have to show that that's actually yours before you can get it back?
Well, I mean, if you have evidence, like a photo or something like that, yeah, but I mean, if you have a description of it, a good description of it, sometimes, you know, a specific detail, maybe a defect in it or something. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna want to reasonably believe that it's yours before we can return it to you. But
And we could use other things like if it's several pieces of jewelry, or so when somebody, and that's the next thing, is anything that's pawned at a pawn shop, a jewelry shop, the person selling it is photographed, identified, and if any of that links back to the information we have from the burglary as well too, obviously we can match that up as yours. Um, so there's ways that we could use to verify that if it's yours or not. So we go through several. We try to do our best to can to make sure. Now, obviously, if you say gold chain, we're not just going to go get any gold chain that's at a pawn shop. We're gonna have to do something else to verify it's yours.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what Ellie does. Is she's our pawn administrator. I mean, she combs through any kind of secondhand resale shop to look for these items that are stolen. People are photographed in their clothing. And that goes back to at the time of the crime, what they're wearing. We have methods of kind of matching up what's being worn. So any kind of video evidence, again, whether it shows their face or not, is useful to us. One other thing real quick, I guess I took up way more time than I probably should. We also have something called Vacation Watch. And you can just fill out this online form if you're going on vacation. And it sends a note to our district lieutenants and then they send it out to patrol just to keep the address on mind, just to keep an eye on while you're gone. And we do have really talented patrol officers who have very sharp memories who will keep those addresses in mind and will drive by it and notice anything. You know, you could put a note on saying, you know, dog walker will be by with this vehicle or something like that, so they know what's going on, or light shouldn't be on, or you can give little messages. And you know, it's not guaranteed that it'll be watched 24/7, but it's something that's helpful that we can give you your contact name if we see like an open door or something there. So it's just a little extra service that we provide.
tips for
What's that?
while they're on vacation, like keeping their lights and.
Oh yeah, and just obviously the tips for vacation: set a timer, lights, a light timer, have people checking on your address, let your neighbors know if you trust them that you're gone, keep an eye on it.
Make sure things like your mail and your newspaper are stocked so that you're not having those stack up in front of the house. Your garbage cans get brought back in after garbage day and they're not sitting there for the rest of the week. Yeah, and like the hot timers on, you know, lights on, not 24/7, like a light on at 3 a.m. in your living room might not be that believable, but if you had a timer or something to have those lights go on and off at normal hours. And yeah, keeping the outdoor lighting is a deterrent too. So, and maybe even have like a neighbor or something park their car in your driveway just to make it look like somebody's home. So just those few little things can just make it look less desirable of a target for a criminal to stop in and take your stuff.
Given all that, here's our contact information. We're out of the Midtown District. We have a general phone number and email. And given that, I can take questions as you have them.
Feel free, everyone, then to unmute yourselves and ask your questions.
Yeah, I have one about programming a button in your car to open the garage door. Yeah, a lot of people do that. And then so it's super helpful, but it also, if you leave your car door unlocked, that's how they're going to get your garage door open and could get into your house as well too. It's just something to think about, even if you don't keep a garage door opener in there.
One thing I noticed is that, population of the city is growing fairly rapidly. We're getting a lot of population concentrated in apartment buildings, but the number of police officers isn't really increasing that much. I mean, it's still, like you said, 500, and it was a little under 500 not too long ago. I can sort of see how you're going to these more efficient methods of dealing with. I mean, people still call the police a lot. You just watch the Chiefs blog, the numbers are there. Do you find personally, through your career that the technological innovations are helping you deal with, a shortage of police officers?
Um, yeah, I mean, for patrol, I'll throw it out there if people want to participate, like between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. How many officers do you think are patrolling the districts? This should be fun. Like, you might have a guess.
Between two, go ahead, put your guesses out there, folks. Between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. patrolling the whole city?
No, in a district.
Oh, in a district. So say in Midtown District, a lot of houses there. I don't know. 20? Any other guesses?
10.
10? Julia goes with 10. We've got 10. Anyone else?
Yeah, there's like 6 to 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, fewer than that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have a crash, OWI crash with 2 officers. You got 2 officers on a mental health call. You got 2 officers on a domestic arrest. Like, your officers are gone. So it's like our resources are taken up very quickly some nights. So, yeah. So your question is like with technology. Yeah. So our numbers have not increased, and that's something that we're always fighting. You're fighting for, is to get an increase in officers out there. It's just, we're a 24/7 agency staffing 7 days a week. And we've cut through the last year community policing teams, traffic teams, some specialty groups just to kind of keep up with patrol. And then with staffing shortages, keeping those positions filled with bodies, it's a never ending. So it's a constant struggle with us, but we're always hiring. We're always looking for good people, and we would love to increase our numbers for sure.
Any more questions? Please chime in, everyone, if you have questions for Shawn and Ellie. Ellie, what's the thing in your property room that takes up the most space? And, as pawn administrator, what would you love to get rid of?
Well, I mean, we only confiscate things that are stolen. But yeah, I know the property room loves to get the bikes out of there. Those do take up a lot of space. And they're stolen a lot. They're easy if you don't have them lock them up. Easy to walk up and take off with it, and before you know it, you're 3 blocks away and nobody's the wiser. So yeah, a lot of bikes.
I would say bikes are probably the biggest stolen item, especially downtown.
And this time of year, like we're heading into that season. It is fun to find them and return them. It's one of my favorite things to do.
And for those that live in apartment complexes, the whole concept of package rooms blows my mind. That anybody can go in and just grab them, and anybody with access to them, unsecured package rooms. It's just, The amount of theft from those are mind-boggling, and those are on landlords to or property managers to do something about to get proper controlled access and cameras, because it's huge the amount of thefts from those. And it's so hard for us because if we don't have a camera pointing in there to show a person taking the specific package, you can see people coming and going from the lobby, but you don't know like which package they took, and it's hard to pinpoint them. So that's a very difficult crime for us to pinpoint on a suspect.
Yeah, very difficult. Last chance, everyone. Please, if you have questions, give it a go right now. Otherwise, we're going to let Shawn and Ellie get back to work. Well, seeing none, I just want to thank you so much, Shawn, for jumping in here for Lieutenant Messer. Ellie, thank you for coming along. You must have a fascinating job there as pawn administrator. I mean, like, pretty amazing. This has been very helpful for us today. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you all. And then, like I said, if there's questions, my contact info is there. I'll be happy to help if anything comes up.